Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Justin with another video for you guys. We're going to start doing these daily recaps pretty often. Going to try to get them out once a day for you guys. I am up $4,333 on the day. We took actually kind of a lot of trades today. I took 5 trades today on Powell speaking. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, Justin's trading news. Number one, it's not FOMC, so kind of relax. Powell speaking, it's okay to trade news if you have experience, if you apply good risk. I traded very low size today, and I was rewarded for it, right? I would have made a lot more if I traded, my full size, but that's not how I think about it. I'm thinking about I'm practicing good habits. I'm building good habits. That's going to stick with me longer, and in the future, that's going to bring me more money than I would be if I just came into a news day over leveraged, and I could have gotten really hurt by that, right? So let's talk about what trades we took today, why I took them, what was my bias going into the day, right? Kind of everything. And let's jump right in. So first thing I want to talk about is taking a look just at ES here. So going into the day on ES, I had sort of a mixed bias, and I really wanted to see how the open was going to play out. And whatever happened at the open was probably going to give me my full bias of what I wanted to see. Now, I was short biased, but also long biased because looking at ES, we've been selling off really hard. It looks like we've, a little bit overextended downside, and we just swept this sell side level, right? We just swept the sell side level. Notice we held it very nicely, no continuation of the downside, and then we started getting volume to the upside. So going into the morning, I wanted to wait and see at the open. All right, we're going to get pressure towards the upside, or we're going to get pressure towards the downside. That's going to give me confidence what the draw is, right? I want to wait to see where price is starting to gravitate towards. That's going to give me confidence or conviction to whatever I think the draw and liquidity is. So going into the day, mixed bias, was a little bit I was patient, waiting to see what the market wanted to do first to then get an overall bias. So looking at NQ, same thing, we came down. Now I did expect, and I still do expect, NQ to come into this daily fair value gap. So now we actually formed relative equal lows here. We're actually getting a really strong bounce so far, but I was expecting NQ to come down and sweep all these lows here and to go into this daily fair value gap. Notice we actually just barely, literally like almost a tick off from going into this daily fair value gap, which kind of faked a lot of people out. I'm expecting, but we ended up not going into it and then bounced. So in my opinion, right when that happens, I'm still bearish. I'm still bearish until I get some sort of indication that we want to break out higher. So going into the open, looking at NQ, there was 2 things that I was watching. Number one, we have equal highs and equal lows going into the open, right? We opened right here, so a little bit before the open, and I'm expecting one of 2 things. Or actually, well, I'm expecting one thing, actually. I have confidence that the draw on liquidity is lower. Notice we came up, form equal highs. The draw on liquidity is still lower in a bigger time frame, so I was expecting to come up, put it equal high was in, and then this will get hunted later in the day. We came down, instantly swept this level, right? Instantly swept these, and then notice no follow through whatsoever. That is what we want to see for a sweep of liquidity. So going down to a smaller time frame, we have equal highs being swept. Notice that 1 minute time frame, just boom, sweep, instant buying pressure starts to come in. We get big displacement to the upside. We get market structure shift. So now I have confidence, right, that equal highs is going to be the draw. We know equal highs like to get targeted. Equal highs act as a magnet, and we just swept sell side and now having displacement towards the upside. So that's giving me confidence that the draw on liquidity is going to be those equal highs. So once we get this big move to the upside, I look for a possible entry to target those equal highs, and we end up getting this right here. So we get a 1 minute fair value gap, wait for a pullback to this fair value gap. You can see we come up, retrace back into this. I enter long with a stop at the bottom of the candle, and then we get a nice push up targeting that buy side level, and I take off my full position right there. That was the first trade we took in the morning. Beautiful little scalp. Great way to start the morning. Literally like five, less than 10 minutes into the market, and I could have stopped there, but wanted to see what other opportunities that were going to present themselves. So the next trade we took actually ended up getting stopped out. Now looking back at this, I'm not really too upset about this, to be honest. I mean, it ended up going in our favor afterwards. And looking back, I mean, I did everything I was supposed to do. The only thing that I could have said was wrong is maybe having a looser stop. But again, most of the time, I like to put my stops at the bottom of the wick of whatever the fair value gap is. And if I look on a different time frame, there wasn't really any other fair value gap there besides the 1 minute. right? We had that 2 minute, so I guess I could have put my stop a little bit lower, but again, looks like that would have been stopped as well. So this one, I'm totally fine taking a loss on this. So this trade we actually took was Silver Bullet. For people that are unfamiliar with Silver Bullet, it is a macro ICT concept and model that basically happens between 10 and 11, and it's whatever that first fair value gap is pulling back into, targeting whatever the opposing liquidity pool is. So in this case, the opposing liquidity pool was that recent high, and we have that buy side level up here. Once we see that pullback into this, right, notice what time this was. 10 o'clock opens right here. This is the first fair value gap we pull back into. I long, put my stop at the bottom, and ended up getting stopped out. Unfortunately, got stop hunted, and then had a big push to the upside, and then ended up running all the way to that level. So missed out on that. Okay, getting stopped again. I'm totally fine taking these small losses, right? If we look at this, very small stop, right, compared to the win we took earlier, giving back a little bit of profits, right? But I'm totally fine with that. That's what trading is about, putting risk on the table. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, right? As long as you're applying good risk management, and I know that I am. So I'm fine taking a loss knowing I'm practicing good risk management, right? I'm following my rules, following my stop loss. That is the proper way to trade, and you have to be okay with taking those losses. So we end up putting in a high here, never end up sweeping that level, right? So looking at the 1 hour on NQ, we never ended up sweeping this buy side level, right? This is now our clear buy side. If we look at the 15-minute chart, we can see this would be our break of structure on a bigger time frame. Have big volume up, right? This is the significant high that we'd be watching. This now becomes our buy side liquidity, and I'm when watching to see that level get swept. So going to a smaller time frame, notice we come up, create kind of relative equal highs to that level, and then instantly sell off. Now, a lot of people faked out here. A lot of people think this move is going to bring us all the way back down to the lows, right? They think that we've swept liquidity. No, we have not swept liquidity yet. We formed relative equal highs. What do we know about relative equal highs or equal highs? Drawn liquidity is going to be acting as a magnet, right? We're always going to come back to those levels to get hunted. So looking at this, a lot of people ended up taking shorts trying to see more downside. That's not the case. I'm still bullish knowing we have not yet swept that buy side level. That buy side level is still the draw on liquidity. So what do? I wanted to see more action start to form. I saw we had this fair value gap here. We also had a 5-minute fair value gap. Now I waited to see a pullback to discount. So we can see we came here, formed equal lows, right? Still want to see this get targeted. Formed equal lows or come up, big move to the upside. Again, still have not swept that high. Start to slowly retrace, and I wait for a retracement back to discount of this leg. So I draw on my fib, go to the high, to the low, and notice where we bounce perfectly to the tick. To the tick, bounced perfectly off of discount. Once I see that we've now retraced a discount, I wait to see what the market wants to do. Now, we can trade. It's not like I come into this fair value gap and instantly go long. That's not what it is. I need more. I need more than just this, right? I can't just enter off this fair value gap. I need more context. Overlapping models here. Pull back to discount. Wait for 1 minute confirmation. Here we go. Big displacement towards the upside. 1 minute internal market structure shift after pulling back to this fair value gap. And we have this kind of low resistance liquidity area. Now you could call this a bull flag, whatever you want. I would call this low resistance liquidity run, right? We have no significant high here, so we expect all of these highs to get ran through. So we end up creating a 1 minute fair value gap. I end up waiting for that pullback, enter long on that fair value gap, targeting those equal highs, right? That draw on liquidity that has not yet been targeted. Another great trade, right? Adding the books, solid trade, stayed patient, beautiful execution. Very happy with this trade, right? Targeting the draw. We had a clear draw on liquidity, pull back to discount, good risk management, pull back to a fair value gap for the entry, low resistance liquidity run, right? All of these things is what kind of what we want to see for a high quality setup. Now, it takes experience, right? The way that we trade is using all of these things to get some sort of advantage in the market. Now, it's not going to look exactly the same every single day. Whenever you wake up and you look at the market, it's going to look completely unique. Now, it's going to look a lot similar, right? The more experience you have, the more you're going to be able to recognize certain things and take advantage of it, but it's never going to be exactly the same. That's why using all of these things to add confluence and conviction is going to give us a high quality setup, right? Now, I don't take trades just off a random fair value gap. I don't take trades off of a random liquidity sweep. I don't take trades off of a random SMT. combining all of these things and combining all of these biases is going to give me a high quality setup, right? That is what we want. So a lot of the times, if there's no setup, I'll say, all right, guys, wait for structure. Wait for structure. A lot of the times, right, when we come up and we break through this level, I have no desire to take any sort of trade up here. No desire to take any sort of trade because we've just swept this, big level here. Now, I'm probably going to be more short biased now, but I'm not taking any sort of short until I get displacement back down, right? Until the market tells me it's ready to do something, right? I'm not predicting. I'm simply just reacting to what the market's showing me, and I'm putting risk on the table. So the next trade we ended up taking, right after this high was taken, looking at that 1 hour, right? We have instant displacement back to the downside, right? We come up and we end up forming an SMT at the highs. If we look at the 5-minute here on ES and NQ, you can see at the time, pull this over. Boom. Boom. At the time, we were forming SMT. We can see ES forming a lower high, while NQ has now swept that high, forming a higher high. This is now a bearish SMT. What do I want to see? I want to see displacement back down, some sort of market structure shift, and a pullback to a discounted fair value gap. So, looking at this trade, I'm looking for some sort of short entry, and I ended up getting stopped out on my first trade. Now, the reason this was a lower quality entry, and I'll talk about why. Looking at the 5-minute time frame, look at where I took this entry, right? We have a 5-minute fair value gap here, right? 5-minute fair value gap. Let me get rid of this so it's easier to see. Wick, right? Once I see us reject this 5-minute fair value gap and have big displacement lower, I wait for the pullback to fair value gap, and I entered short, targeting that low, stop above. This is not a bad entry. Now, the reason why this is a lower quality entry, though, and the reason this got stopped out is because we never retraced back to discount yet. If I draw in my fib, right, from this leg, high, low, discount lies here. Whenever we want to take that sort of position, especially when we're starting to slow chop, right? This is in the lunch hour, so it's a lot slower action as well. Slower action, we want to see a pullback to a discounted area. So if we look at that 2-minute, this is where I was originally looking to take a short. We had a clean 2-minute fair value gap here in discount. This is what I wanted to see. Now, once NQ ended up coming up and I saw the rejection, that is when I looked to re-enter. I was still confident in the trade, still confident in the bias that I had. I was confident that the draw on liquidity is going to be there nice and low, right? SMT at the highs. Liquidity swept on a bigger time frame. Big displacement back inside the range. Pull back to a fair value gap, pull back to discount. Once I see the rejection, all of these things aligning are giving me confidence, conviction to take the trade. Even if I got stopped out before, I'm not afraid to jump back in knowing I was probably stopped out and stop hunted on that first trade. I'm willing to put more risk on the table, give it a second try. So, another SMT starts to form. Looking at ES. ES ends up coming up, sweeping this high, forming a higher high. NQ forming lower high. End up rejecting. Right when I see that rejection, I do not wait for a fair value gap. I didn't wait for a fair value gap. I literally entered right when I saw that rejection. Now, you could have waited for a fair value gap. Notice we have this 1 minute here. You could have entered there. I didn't. I just kind of entered in, right when I saw that rejection because we were already in a fair value gap already. So, entered in. We have everything in, our bias. Liquidity swept on a bigger time frame. Displacement lower, SMT on a bigger time frame, fair value gap, retrace to discount, rejection of the fair value gap. What is the draw on liquidity? The obviously draw on liquidity is going to be whatever the recent low was, which is this. This now becomes our sell side draw on liquidity, right? Because this is the low that was created before that big move to sweep buy side, right? So this is now our target. Beautiful entry. Again, ended up holding this, letting those winners run. Let the market do the work for you, right? Especially, that is how you're going to be profitable. The reason I have such big days and such small days is because I'm willing to take off my losers quick. When I'm wrong, I accept I'm wrong quick. I don't wait to find out if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll get stopped quick. That's how I like it. If I'm wrong, I'll just get stopped. But if I'm right, I'm going to let the market do its thing. I'm going to put my hands up, put my limit order in. There's only should be 2 outcomes to a trade. Your price target gets hit, your stop loss gets hit. That is it. Let the market do the work for you. Be patient. A lot of it comes with confidence. When you learn to have confidence with what the draw on liquidity is, you know where the market's going to go. I know where the market's going to go right now. Why would I take it off any earlier? Take advantage of that knowledge. Take advantage of the move. Take it off when the draw gets hit. You know where it's going to go. You have confidence with it. You have conviction with it. This is what we've been working towards, gaining experience with. Let the market run to those levels. Let it. Trust me, you'll be rewarded for it. So we end up displacing lower, pull back to this 2-minute fair value gap, and then boom, big sell-off. Discord went crazy, and I ended up selling my full position once we swept that sell side level. And that's pretty much it. That was the trades that we took today. I'm up $4,333 on the day. Very happy. I'm up $12,000 on the week. Monday, literally 3 days into the week, and I'm up $12,000 already. Going to continue to keep killing it. Again, proving myself through consistent results. In my opinion, Tactical Traders is the #1 educational community out there. If you want to learn trading, if you want to learn the right way to trade, I am here to show you. I do not care about making money. I do not care about spoon feeding you plays. I am here to teach the proper way of trading. When I first started trading, I had nobody telling me what to do, what was right, what was wrong. I had to figure that shit out on myself. I do not want other traders that come into the space to have to deal with the shit that I had to deal with, because I had to hit rock bottom before I ever became successful. I'm very happy with the community we've been building, Tactical Traders. I've primarily focused on education. I love teaching. I love making these videos for you guys. I hope that you enjoy it just as much as I do making it. So enjoy the rest of your day, guys. And I hope you enjoy this video. You learned something from it. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. Feel free, always feel free to ask any sort of questions, right, guys? Enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.